Good afternoon. On behalf of the Falmouth Board of Selectmen, I'm pleased to welcome you all to this exciting event. I'd like to thank you for coming here today to mark the official completion of the Falmouth Solar Project. The town of Falmouth has a long-standing commitment to renewable energy as we strive to find ways to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and minimize our carbon footprint. As a science educator, I know that man's contribution to global warming cannot be ignored. And as a coastal community, Falmouth is well aware of the impending threat of sea rise associated with climate change. This solar project is another step that Falmouth has taken to preserve the health of this planet for future generations. This project was the result of the great working relationship between the town of Falmouth, the Falmouth EDIC, and Citizens Energy Corporation. First, I'd like to recognize Falmouth EDIC Chairman Michael Asso and Falmouth EDIC Board Member Jim Fox, who worked tirelessly to bring this project to completion. Thank you so much for your efforts. In addition, I especially want to thank Joe Kennedy and Citizens Energy Corporation for making it possible to bring clean, green, and affordable renewable energy to our town. We are very proud that this project will support Citizen Energy's mission of providing assistance to low and moderate income families. Joe Kennedy started Citizen Energy back in 1979 to do just that. During his career in Congress, he continued that fight, finding ways to help needy families with housing and credit and health care. And since returning to Citizens Energy in 1999, he has expanded the reach of the company he founded. Fortunately for Falmouth, developing renewable energy resources became an important part of the company's business activities. I do want to say that I also have a personal connection to Joe's family, having worked with his sons Matt and Joe at their high school in Cambridge. Joe, I don't need to tell you they're both smart, great boys, and I know they're doing well in spite of what I may have taught them. It gives me great pleasure to ask Joe to say a few words. And thank you, Joe, for again joining us today and bringing this beautiful raid to our town. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Kennedy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I tell you, it's the fact that my wife, hey Beth, come on up here. Let me get my wife Beth, because we just live about 5 or 10 miles down the road here, and oh, she wants to take my crutches away. Okay, thank you, dear. But it just means, Doug, so much to all of the members of the Kennedy family that we are able to find a way to give something back to this beautiful Cape that has been such a wonderful home to so many of not just our family, but so many families have just been brought up here and think of the Cape as a really special place, that its environment has to be protected. And I am so thrilled that Doug is the chairman of the Board of Selectmen and has welcomed so much green development for the town of Falmouth. And you know, the fact that Mike Galassa is here, who is the chairman of your EDIC, Jim Fox, who I have worked with for years and has also just been a great friend of our families for years, who works at the EDIC. Julian Suso, your town manager, has been here 5.5 years. He seems to be doing a very, very good job. And if you look out here behind us and you see this wonderful field full of what used to just be nothing but trash and dirt, and now it's making energy for the people of this community. And it is going to save, and your town manager and your selectmen will appreciate this, but this project will save over $14 million in direct costs that the people of the city, the town of Falmouth will save. And so the fact that you can not only have completely green energy, I mean, there is nothing polluting coming out of anything behind me. That is just the sun hitting a panel and turning it into electricity. And there are so many people who work at Citizens Energy and who work at different firms. I just want to tell you, Sean Harrington at Conti and Peter Cannell at Fishback and more, the electricians who helped build this whole facility. I mean, these are important and difficult facilities to put up. They have to last for a long time, and they make a lot of juice. And the fact that we can do that and make electricity and give a check to the people of Falmouth for $14 million at the same time, I mean, that's a Citizens Energy kind of deal, folks. And so we're just really thrilled and so happy that, you know, I got to go back to my old job for just 1 second. But, you know, at a time when we see in our country a president who is leading us to, yesterday he fired the 5 top scientists at the EPA that believe that the science that grew to make those panels back there is all hogwash, and none of it is going to make any difference, and none of this is necessary. And ladies and gentlemen, I can just tell you that there are real threats that are going on, and if you live on the Cape, you know about the tides that took place on this Cape just a few weeks ago that we've never seen before. And you know of how important sea rise is going to be to our children and our children's children. And if we ever want them to enjoy the Falmouth that you've enjoyed, then we need to have the kind of officials that lead us to make good decisions versus those that make us want to pull out of the Paris Peace Accord or want to make us pull out of the whole energy plan that we had passed for our entire region, all of which have been thrown out. And at a time when we so desperately need them. So I'm just so happy that you have the kind of political leadership that then leads to making good decisions based upon science, that then makes it possible for us to make a check out to the people of Falmouth in order to help them be able to help. We'll end up with the profits that we make on this project. We will help thousands of families deal with the cost of energy. That has nothing to do with the economics that we provide to the town. It's a straight deal to the town. But what we do with our money is very different. And that, you'll all know, ultimately will go to the poor. So anyway, I thank you all for what you're doing. I really wish you the best, and I just keep on keeping on. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Somebody speaking next to you?
I'm going to speak
all
next,
right,
Coach, for a second. Yes.
I'm going to go sit down then with Beth. All
Go
right?
ahead. Go
Thanks.
ahead. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for all coming out to the landfill. I've been in Falmouth since 1961. We used to call it the dump. And I think this is probably the most number of people I've seen out at the landfill dressed in suits. So thank you all for coming. And Joe, thank you very much for all your time and effort, not only what you've done for the citizens of Falmouth, but what you've done for everyone here in the state and throughout the country. So thank you very much for helping those who are disadvantaged and don't have the opportunities that some of the other ones do. So thank you very much. Thank you for all the effort. I also want to take just a minute and thank some of the other folks who may not be able to be here today. From the town manager's office, Heather Harper. We worked very strongly with Heather Harper on this project, and unfortunately she couldn't be here today. Frank Duffy, who's our town attorney, and all the documentation that we had to process in order to put this project together. Our great Public Works Department, Peter McConnery there for all his hard work. Jim Fox has been mentioned a number of times, who's on our board, and has been the project manager for this project, and all the current and past members of the EDIC, and also to all the selectmen, obviously our chairman, Doug Jones, but all the other members of the Board of Selectmen. Really appreciate it. And one special person who worked for you, Joe, who after she did a great job here, you sent her off to Texas, Emma. Thank you, Emma, very much. Really appreciate all your hard work in managing this project. Yeah, that's what I understand. But thank you very, very, very much.
Mike, would you mind if I just introduce not just
Sure,
Emma,
go ahead.
Brian
Peter,
Morrissey,
Brian,
who actually runs the whole our whole solar business, and he served his country in Afghanistan, and he's a wonderful fellow who has really helped citizens build a very vibrant solar business. And so Brian Morrissey, we want to thank Brian for all of his help. Emma and Brian O'Connor, who is here despite being very hurt himself. He got himself up, and then the guy who we all work for basically is Pete Smith.
Yeah.
And Pete is the guy who really runs Citizens Energy. So everybody got to give Pete a hand here. So thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Joe, for introducing them. Yeah, everyone at Citizens, was a pleasure working with every one of you. We really appreciate it. And what we have behind us is really the first phase of 3 phases for the project. We built the 4 megawatt charter out there. We still got 2 more to build, and we have the community project too. So we look forward to continuing on with those projects in the near future, as soon as our state figures out how they're going to do the SRECs and everything else. But we look forward to those other projects too. The EDIC took a big risk about 4 years ago when this piece of property became available for us to look at future developing. We spent a lot of time working with the community, determining what would be best to put out at the landfill. The EDIC forwarded all the money in order to do all the studies that were needed to, paid Eversource, and it was a risk that we took. And I think today, as we are here gathered and look out onto the field, we think that it's both a great success for both our environment and for the economics of our town. So thank everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Joe, and for everyone at Citizen Energy and everyone who helped us put this project together. It was a fully team effort between the EDIC, the town, all the departments in the town, and everyone who works here, and with Citizens Energy. So again, thank you all very, very much.
Mike, thank you. Well, gang, thank you all very much. As Mike covered it all, it just is, the Cape people know how to get along and make things work. And this is an example of that. You should all be proud of it, really. This is going to be a neat project, and it's going to help a lot of people. So, green energy, it's here, okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
And Mike, thank you for, you had a great team, Mike. Really, thank you very much.
Yeah. So, did you have to help us turn this on, Joe?
Excuse me?
You have to make sure that we turn this
Oh,
on.
yeah, we gotta turn it on. Come on.